Section 4. You will hear a university lecturer giving a talk about ocean plastic pollution. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I want to talk about one of the most pressing environmental challenges of our time, the problem of plastic pollution in our oceans. Let's begin with the scale of the issue. Current estimates suggest that around 8 million tons of plastic waste enter the world's oceans every single year. That's the equivalent of a rubbish truck emptying its load into the sea every single minute. What makes this particularly alarming is the durability of plastic. Depending on the type, plastic items can persist in the environment for up to 500 years before they fully decompose. So, the plastic that was discarded decades ago is still out there, drifting, fragmenting, and causing harm. Much of this plastic accumulates in specific areas due to ocean currents. The most well-known of these is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, a vast zone in the North Pacific Ocean where floating debris has concentrated over many years. It is now estimated to cover an area roughly 3 times the size of France. Now, let's consider the impact on marine life. The effects are devastating and wide-ranging. One of the most documented cases involves sea turtles. These animals frequently mistake plastic bags for jellyfish, which are a natural part of their diet. When they swallow these bags, it can block their digestive system and lead to starvation or death. But the problem goes far deeper. Literally. Scientists have now found microplastics inside the bodies of deep-sea fish, living at depths where we once thought human pollution had not reached. This tells us that contamination has spread throughout the entire ocean water column. The chemical dimension of this crisis is also deeply concerning. Many plastics contain or absorb toxic substances. When marine animals ingest these materials, the chemicals can interfere with their reproductive systems, reducing their ability to breed successfully and threatening population numbers. And this is no longer just a wildlife issue. It has direct implications for human health. Microplastics have now been detected in tap water, bottled water, and disturbingly, in human blood. The long-term health consequences of this are still being studied, but early findings are troubling. So what can be done? Researchers and policymakers broadly agree that the most effective strategy is prevention. In other words, stopping plastic from reaching the ocean in the first place, rather than attempting to clean up what is already there. Ocean cleanup efforts, while valuable in raising awareness, are logistically extremely difficult and can only address a fraction of the problem. On the topic of recycling, it's often cited as a solution, but the reality is sobering. Studies show that less than 10% of all plastic ever produced has actually been recycled. The majority ends up in landfill, is incinerated, or leaks into the environment. Recycling alone, therefore, cannot solve this crisis. Finally, what can individuals do? While actions like carrying a reusable water bottle or attending beach cleanups are positive steps, the lecturer argues, and I agree with the evidence here, that the most impactful thing any individual can do is to fundamentally reduce their reliance on single-use plastic altogether. Systemic change begins with shifts in consumer behavior. To summarize, ocean plastic pollution is a global emergency driven by overproduction and poor waste management. It harms marine ecosystems from the surface to the ocean floor, enters our food chain, and now circulates in our own bodies. Addressing it requires action at every level: individual, corporate, and governmental. Now you have some time to check your answers. That is the end of Section 4.